In a WUSA 9 exclusive, we share the stories of two families who claim they've lost thousands of dollars because they are victims of appraisal bias. They say their homes were valued differently because they're black and live in a majority black neighborhood. Well, after our story aired, we heard from more families who are sharing similar experiences. And tonight, a bit of a twist. We hear from a white family who lives in a majority black neighborhood. They're detailing an appraisal experience that they call, quote, suspicious. Here's WUSA 9's Larry Miller with a continuation of our series appraising Prince George's County.
I'm an older person, so throughout history they always said, communities that are primarily black are lower value, and I don't believe that. It is something that is very concerning because the house is the house. And it should be valued at what it should be valued at, regardless of who lives in it. So we added this deck and that patio.
We're not sharing this man's name, nor are we showing his face. He's asked us not to because of his line of work. And for the purposes of our report, we'll call him Jim.
That's a sign that something's wrong.
But even with Jim's identity concealed, he said he couldn't hold back his story after hearing his former neighbors, Rashunda Ingram Harvey and her husband Derek, detail their alleged encounter of appraisal bias.
We lost about $60,000.
Jim's story begins in 2012. That's when he says he bought this 5-bedroom home in Prince George's Marlboro Ridge community, known for its amenities and on-site equestrian center. It's a majority black, high-end neighborhood. He's one of the few white families who live there.
I mean, I love this neighborhood. I love all my neighbors here.
He paid about $820,000 for the house. It was this past summer when the house had to be appraised again.
In June, July, we applied for to do a HELOC loan, and so we had the house appraised for that.
HELOC stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. It's a loan where homeowners can borrow against the equity they've accumulated in their houses.
We filled out all the paperwork with the credit union, and they ordered the appraisal be done. They said it would be a drive-by appraisal, didn't cost us anything. And an appraiser came by, drove by the house, took pictures, and then did an appraisal report.
A few weeks later, the appraisal report came back.
When I saw it, I saw that it was pretty low.
The report said that the house was worth $785,000, more than $35,000 less than what it cost them to buy 9 years ago.
I said, this is wrong, and so they ordered a full appraisal that I paid over $500 for. The appraisal company came out, they did a walkthrough, they took measurements, there's two guys, and they walked around the house, they annotated everything we've added to the house.
The walkthrough appraisal came back at $920,000, $135,000 more than the first appraisal.
It amazed me.
We took Jim's case to real estate appraiser Jennifer Gossman for an outside opinion. She has 15 years of experience and is an expert in DC real estate. She holds a license in Maryland too. We want to be absolutely clear. She wasn't involved in Jim's appraisal, hasn't seen Jim's home, and is only assessing the documentation provided. And she's not providing a value opinion as well. But looking at the documents, she says a few things catch her eye.
So they did a limited scope, which is even smaller scope than a drive-by. If you read that report, the appraiser was thoughtful that the overall neighborhood values for the last 12 months was $750, something like that. I did my own research, and that's correct. If you just do a 1 mile radius of his home for the last 12 months, I picked a size of over 3,500 square feet, even though his house is 5,100 square feet. The median value is $750.
She also noticed something about the comps, or what's known as the comparable homes, which are used to justify the value of a house.
However, the comparables that are on that appraisal report, every single one of them was from 2020. And the effective date was a 2021 date. So all of the comps are older, and all of them are over 2.5 miles to up to 4.5 miles away. I don't think that's a great report, but it's a limited scope appraisal. I don't think that product is necessarily a great product.
Gossman says when determining a home's value, she prefers to use recent comparables within months or at least the same year as the home that's being appraised. And she prefers to find those comparables within 1/3 of a mile of the appraised home. She says the closer the comparable, the better the value analysis. She also recommends getting a full appraisal where appraisers go inside and inspect your home up close. The differences were evident in Jim's case.
The person came into his house. All of those comparables, and this is important, are from 2021, and they are all within half a mile from his home. Those are the comps of his house. They are all also over 5,000 square feet in size, and his appraisal value is $920, because that's the report that is correct.
Gosman says while some might argue issues like this are a form of appraisal bias, she suggests other factors are at play. Often homeowners may not understand what other similar homes in the neighborhood are selling for, or may think certain upgrades add value to a house when in fact they don't. Gosman says appraisal bias is difficult given how appraisers are regulated.
Appraisal reports are governed by Congress and the appraisal board and the appraisal subcommittee, and we certify that our appraisals are unbiased with race, creed, religion, age, marital status, color, sex, neighborhood boundaries. So while I am sure that there are bad people that exist in the world that want to do a mean thing to some person, I can't imagine that this could stand to exist.
Gosman also recommends homeowners become experts in their neighborhood and adds that if something isn't correct on an appraisal, be sure to ask for a consideration of value. And if you feel something else is going on, don't hesitate to file an official complaint. And if you need to file that complaint, we've listed all of the ways that you can do so by heading over to our mobile app and our website, WUSA9.com. I'm Larry Miller. Back to you.